Hello and welcome back to another Q&A video where we're going to talk a little bit about renovation stuff. Since we are literally in the middle of a renovation, or at least Kylie is, we thought we would answer one of the big questions that we've had many of, although a few recently, about our renovation experience. How many properties have we renovated? How do we know all the things that we need to do to this house to make it nice? Well, we thought we'd do a bit of show and tell today and do almost like a mini flashback and talk about some of the past projects that we've done, show you some photos that we've got, and talk a little bit about the kinds of things that we've done in the past, as well as some of the things that we've also done on this project. And then we'll wrap up with a bit of a discussion at the end about some of the things that we have done on this project that we've never done before and how we go about approaching some of that. So let's rewind to about 2005 and talk about Kylie's first project.
So my renovation journey started way back in 2005. And it was when I bought my first property. It was a small 1.5-ish terraced cottage in Kingston, and it was a probate property that had someone quite old die in it. And this was well before I met Guy. I'd actually bought it with my ex-husband, and it needed everything doing to it. It had a small galley kitchen on the ground floor and a very old kind of 1970s bathroom. I think it was, I'm going to say avocado. And it hadn't been touched in, I don't know how long, a very, very long time. So I went off and did a carpentry course, and my husband went off and did the plumbing course. And then later on, I went and did an electrics course and became Part P certified. And we did a lot of it ourselves, but we also got some builders in. So the builders did window replacement. They put in a new staircase for us. But we moved the bathroom from downstairs and upstairs. We redid all the flooring. We built in a lot of storage. We did get a builder in to put in a new kitchen and some bifolding doors at the back. And that's pretty much when I met Guy. I had moved out and then moved back in again. And together we finished the kitchen and the decorating and the landscaping out the back and the front. And yeah, it really gave both of us a taste for taking something that had been unloved for a really long time and making it into something that we were really proud of. And we ended up selling it on to a lovely couple that had a couple of young children. And they really loved it, especially the kitchen that we'd put in. We'd made it into a really nice space for a family to hang out in. So that was really the beginning of the journey. And once we'd finished that, we had the bug. And pretty much as soon as we were finished that one, we started looking for the next one.
So our second renovation project in New Malden, southwest London, was my first full project from start to finish. And we bought this one in 2011, and the project lasted about 3 years. I think we finished it in 2014, and then we sold it and bought the next project, which I'll talk about a bit later on, in 2016. So this property was a very special one for me because it was the first house that I ever owned, or part owned in this case. And just like Kylie's first project, it was an absolute wreck. Horrible carpets, horrible walls stained with nicotine, barely a kitchen, a bathroom with a weird flexi hose shower and a separate toilet. And our plan was to completely gut it and renovate it and modernize it. This was a much bigger property than Kylie's first one. That was a 1.5 bed, and this one in New Malden was a 3 bed. And we had a big extension put in. And really the extension and plastering were the only two things that we outsourced to professional builders and contractors. Everything else, including the electrics, the plumbing, all of the wall demolition, all of the restoration of the doors and the staircase, we did ourselves. Kylie had previously done a carpentry course. She subsequently then did a plumbing course for this property, and I went and did a tiling course so that I could tile the bathroom. So we went to learn a couple of specific skills, but for the most part, it was just making it up as we went along, doing lots of Googling and YouTubing, and doing this alongside our full-time jobs in the tech industry. Myself, I'm a web developer, and Kylie used to work in the world of databases To be honest, I still don't quite understand what she used to do to this day, although she's now out of that field. And something else that we did on this project is we documented the whole experience on, not on YouTube, but on a website. And we catalogued everything that we did over the 3-year period. And that website is still up now if you're interested and want to see the kinds of things that we used to get up to when we were working on this project. And I'll put a link in the description if you do want to check that out. And whilst this was a long, painful, arduous project where we lived on the building site in the dust, we still really enjoyed it. And shortly after finishing, we went in search of another property. So this third project was a little bit different, or at least it started with the goal of being a bit different because we were planning not to do much of the work ourselves on this one. We'd been there, we'd done that, we'd learnt a lot, but we wanted to be a little less hands-on this time round. So we hired a team of builders to come in and do a bunch of structural work for us, build another extension, make a really nice big kitchen, living, dining room, and it was all going smoothly until the builder's workforce changed. And the new team that came onto the project were terrible at communicating, didn't show up on time, didn't speak English in most cases, and everything started to fall apart, up to the point where we literally had to give them a deadline after which we would be kicking them off the project. And that time came, and we kicked them off, and then we had to finish the rest of the project ourselves. So this involved fitting a kitchen, which we'd never done before, laying all the floors, which we'd never done before, and generally lots of fixing things, tidying things up, making good, lots of decorating. Again, we'd lived on site through the majority of the experience, which was quite draining. And so despite the fact we hadn't planned to do this work, and we had thought we were done with renovating, we actually reminded ourselves how much we enjoyed making things, building things, problem solving, and learning new skills. And so it was a little bit of an interesting situation that kind of made us think, well, maybe we could do another project. Although I think at that point, when we went through all of the finishing off and some of the stress and upset of having to fix somebody else's mistake, I think for a while we were like, no more. This is the last one. Clearly famous last words, because here we are doing yet another project in slightly different circumstances. And of course, the Portugal project is our biggest one yet. Not only is it a huge house, but it has a huge land surrounding it as well. So a completely different scenario. But there you go. That is essentially the short version of our previous renovation and construction experience. We've done lots of different bits and pieces, and Kylie and I definitely have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we are putting all of that into this current project. And we've learned a huge amount more since doing all three of these. And most of it we've learned from YouTube, to be honest, which is one of the reasons that we wanted to start this channel, to put out some content to show the things that we have done and the things that we've learned, and also to inspire other people.
Yeah, it's been a while since someone's been here.
Yeah, you're right.
Building with a bit of character.
Yeah, it's got a bit of character.
Yeah, that's lovely windows.
Yeah.
This is very similar style to the one in Ferreira de Zezera, or however you pronounce that.
Yep, you said it right.
Is it?
I understand it.
Okay.
This is not so bad.
Yep,
Oh, wow.
it's just a little balance.
This is in much better condition than most, isn't it?
You can move in, like there's kitchen cupboards and everything.
Oh, look at this. My favourite colour.
That's nice. Even your mum would like that.
Can you imagine?
Has some charm.
Has some charm, yes.
The bedrooms are always small.
They are.
But imagine turning this into a master bedroom.
That's
and
the
the bathroom.
Okay, yeah.
The floor is good, but it's just balanced because of that.
Yep.
And the ceilings also, it's in need of painting again.
Yeah, it's not so bad. There's lots of woodworm.
Yeah, I'd be replacing everything. If you're going to do
We
it,
have to, yeah.
do it.
And so, of course, we bought this place and pretty much started replacing everything. We took the decision to start working upstairs because we thought that would be an easier place to start. And because the bathroom is where all the services, the cold water, hot water, waste, grey water, and of course electrics all culminate, that's where we started. And through the process of working on that, we needed to remove walls and put up new walls so that we knew where the new bathroom would be and where all the plumbing would need to go. And we started working backwards from there. And as we were doing that and started peeling back some of the layers and some of the history of this house, we started to uncover more things that needed doing, things that we were aware of when we first viewed the place but didn't quite know the extent of them. Things like the amount of woodworm and damaged timber, things like how much concrete was on the walls and how difficult that was to take out. We also found some rotten lintels which needed replacing, and so on and so on. And it's really only through working on a project like this that you can really get a sense of all the things, all the scope of what needs to be done. And so over the last year or so, this is what we've been doing. It's involved lots of demolition and rip out and problem solving for how we're going to fix this house and bring it back to its former glory and also be able to last another 100 years. Once we'd pretty much ripped out the entire top floor, right back to bare stone, and removed all of the blown plaster and a lot of the woodworm damaged timber, we then started working downstairs, doing a similar kind of thing, removing as much of the concrete as possible from the walls and the floor. And it was at this point that we discovered there were many more issues downstairs, including some damp and some mold and some big issues with drainage and the different levels on the ground floor. The inside was much lower than the outside. And so because this is our current plan, at least, for this to be our forever home, we wanted to do it properly. We wanted to fix all of the issues, remove as much of the concrete as possible, which was trapping lots of moisture, and put in proper drainage and proper services into the ground floor, because ultimately we're going to convert this into living space. A big kitchen, a big lounge, a utility or plant room, and an internal staircase that connects all 3 floors. And in doing all of this work, there was of course a bunch of manual labour, which doesn't require a huge amount of skill, but there was also a lot of things that we had done before or had some experience with, working with wood, for example. But there were lots of things that we'd never done before. We've never worked with a stone building, we've never replaced lintels, we've never put up guttering, we've never done any kind of groundworks or anything like that. And so perhaps that's something that we should talk about now as we come back to the present day. Yeah, there's still some work to do out here. It's still a big step there.
Yes, I'm laughing at you.
Thanks. So, before we wrap this up, I think it'd be interesting to talk about our approach to how we're able to do all this stuff, and I guess most specifically how we approach doing things that we've not done before.
Yeah. Because I guess most people think that you need to be experienced in something to do it. That's not my approach at all. So my mother, again, is to blame for this. She taught me when I was really young that anything is possible. To make that anything possible, you have to work out how to make it possible. And so that's what we do with the renovation stuff. We work out, okay, what is it we need to do? And then we go and work out how to do it. So we get a lot of the head knowledge. We read books and watch YouTube videos and whatever. But all that does is gives us, not learning, it gives us some knowledge, some head knowledge. And it's not until you actually go and do it that then you actually get the learnings. And we have this other saying that we probably banter around too much, which is learn by doing.
No, I don't think we've ever said that before.
And we're willing to try something and learn from it and then undo it and then redo it and learn it from that.
And we've definitely done that before.
And I think Guy we did a bathroom in our second property, and Guy retiled it like 3 times because every time there was a mistake and he had to undo it and redo it and undo it.
It's the curse of a perfectionist who doesn't know what they're doing.
But we're not afraid to do that, to give it a go, to make a mistake. And whenever we go into something, so even the limecrete floor, which obviously we had never done before, I always do like a bit of a risk analysis, like what's the worst that can happen? And if that were to happen, then what do we have to do to fix it? So the thing with the limecrete floor was, well, the worst that can happen is it doesn't work, it doesn't stick together, and we have to dig it all out again. So at the end of the day, yeah, that will be a pain. But then the next time, hopefully you do it better and you get it right. There's something else. I mean, we've done stud walls upstairs, which I think we did 3 times. Because you can watch someone till you're blue in the face do it. Until you do it yourself, you don't know why they did it that way unless they've been very good at explaining stuff. And so it's doing it that teaches you why things are done in certain ways, hopefully. We do a lot of research, so that the first act of doing it is already got lots and lots of hours, I would say, of research and, oh, what about this and what about that and what about this way and how would that work? And we spend hours discussing things before we jump into it.
And then sometimes we have to throw that all away because we can't find the materials or the tools or the fixings in this context.
Yes, and so a prime example of that, come with me.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in the first bodega where we've done the limecrete floor already. And there's a doorway here that goes to the outside. And this doorway is higher than the finished floor will be. So the finished floor is going to come to like 100 mil above here. And I still don't know what to do here because I want to insulate this. I also want to, because there's stone under there, it's not earth, I need that wall to breathe. But the NHL5 that's here isn't very breathable. I would use hot lime, but hot lime takes forever to cure and it's a doorway. So I actually asked in a lime group recently on Facebook and I got shot down for using NHL5.
There's a huge pile of it in the background as well.
Yeah, and I'm still battling with a solution here. I think I have a solution. And we have the same problem here, there, the doorway over there, and the final doorway that we just came in. And I don't know the answer. And I've done a lot of research and I've done a lot of reading and I've asked in some forums. But all of that advice comes with a grain of salt because they don't know this building and they don't know what we're trying to achieve. So hopefully I'll come up with a good solution. But we've been discussing this now, for a month?
Yeah,
on and off?
Something like that.
Because it's a piece of the puzzle that I don't know the solution to. But I mean, that's our approach. It's like, we'll find out what the problem is and then do a lot of research, a lot of thinking, a lot about what ifs and what ifs and what ifs. Reach out in some groups, watch some videos, and then come up with the thing that works the best and hope that in doing that, it either works or we learn that it doesn't work and we undo it and do it again. Yeah, learn by doing.
That's the quick answer.
That's the quick answer.
Well, there we go. I think that is a comprehensive answer to the question, how do we know what we're doing? The short answer to that is we still don't, but that's okay. But that is how we have developed our experience and our skills over time, by just getting stuck in and seeing what happens, and sometimes undoing and redoing and having another go, maybe in a different way. So that's it for another video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. See you later.
Bye-bye.